Let's talk about EA's E3 2018 press conference. If you tuned into my live stream of that, then you'll know that throughout most of it, I was bored, frustrated, or a combination of both. There were a handful of bright spots here and there, but overall, I can only describe the hour and 20 minutes long presentation as a shit show. The conference kicked off with Battlefield 5, a game that a lot of people were anticipating to see more of. The expectation was that we would finally get the full blowout that was teased during the Battlefield 5 reveal event, meaning lots of gameplay footage disclosing tons of details. But instead, the game was presented for a grand total of less than 6 minutes, most of which was spent on clip montages, screenshots, and concept art. The developers on stage did fleetingly highlight a few features like destructible environment, the ability to move base defenses, character customization, some vague information about the single-player mode war stories, which they said they'd show more of during the Xbox briefing, a brief announcement of Battle Royale mode, and they finished things off with an in-engine cinematic trailer. But most of this stuff felt like reiteration of information we already knew. They teased a lot of things, but with this being E3 2018, one would think that the time for teasing was over, that they would be blowing the lid wide open while all eyes were on them. Granted, we are seeing media outlets and content creators showing gameplay footage of multiplayer and sharing their impressions, and we will see more of the game during Microsoft's press conference. But judging EA's press conference on its own, it felt like a missed opportunity. EA then proceeded by talking about FIFA 19, their big cash cow, their golden goose, their true flagship title. I should have you know that they spent close to 7 minutes talking about this game, a full minute more than Battlefield 5, which should give you an idea of where their priorities lie. They talked in vague hyperbolic terms about how they refined and evolved gameplay, they plugged the upcoming Russia 2018 World Cup, and they talked about some other stuff that I mostly tuned out of. From there, professional corporate bullshitter Andrew Wilson took the stage to talk about how subscription services are the way of the future before announcing that EA is working on a cloud gaming service that's still in early stages and introducing a second tier to their Origin Access service called Origin Access Premier that for $15 a month compared to the regular $5 will grant you full access to EA games a full week ahead of their release date alongside a back catalog of other EA titles. Basically, it's EA's foray into Netflix-like subscription services for games, akin to Xbox One's Gamer Pass. After 4 boring minutes of that, there was a very awkwardly presented announcement that Respawn's upcoming Star Wars game would be called Jedi Fallen Order, and that it would allow players to play as a Jedi between the events of Episode 3 and 4 during the execution of Order 66. There was no trailer, no screenshot, no title art tease. It was just a cringy sit-down where all this information was clumsily spilled onto a handheld microphone. Only EA can make an announcement for a new Star Wars game developed by Respawn this underwhelming. This was then followed by the unexpected appearance of Star Wars Battlefront 2, whose presenter admitted that they didn't get things right at launch before announcing that they would be adding a new map, Geonosis from Attack of the Clones, and new heroes like General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker in the not-so-distant future. As a side note, this further confirms the leak from early May, which not only accurately relayed that Geonosis and Grievous would be the next major additions to the game, but also talked about how 2 of the 3 studios who worked on Battlefront 2, Criterion and Motive, have moved on from Battlefront 2, leaving only inexperienced members of DICE to manage it, how developers are being restricted from directly responding to the community by EA, and more. Anyway, back to the conference, things finally got a bit interesting when EA showcased some of their EA Originals projects in the pipeline, namely the puzzle platformer Unravel 2, which is actually out now, and the impressive-looking Sea of Solitude, which is slated for early 2019. For all the crap EA pulls, their EA Originals program is undoubtedly one of the few bright spots of the company, giving indie developers the resources needed to realize their unique visions. It was because of EA Originals that A Way Out got made, which garnered accolades for its intriguing co-op gameplay, for its compelling narrative and characters, and for its consumer-friendly practices like allowing players to use one copy of the game to play with 2 people. So yeah, Unravel 2 and Sea of Solitude were two genuinely interesting showcases that I'll give kudos to. The conference then shifted back to EA Sports with NBA Live 19 and Madden 19 back-to-back, which took up another 6 minutes or so. The Madden showcase was particularly cringeworthy as an NFL player and a Madden 18 champion took the stage to, promote the game, I guess.
I chased that money. I still got my diploma, but I chased that money.
There you go. We're out here chasing money.
Moving on, we have the part of the conference that probably pissed me off the most. Out of the blue, two commenters took the stage to do a play-by-play on this new real-time strategy mobile game from EA, and nobody really knew what it was, nobody really gave a damn, and this match went on for like 5 minutes, which is insulting given it's way more gameplay than EA showed for Battlefield 5. Once the match was finally over, it was revealed that this game is actually a new Command & Conquer game. Command & Conquer is of course the beloved real-time strategy series, widely known for its endearingly cheesy live-action cutscenes, which has been shelved away for many years now. Instead of giving the franchise a glorious revival, what does EA do? They butcher the series by turning it into a free-to-play mobile game, which the publisher no doubt intends to heavily monetize. Can't say that I'm all that shocked, given that this is what EA does. They take beloved game studios and franchises and bastardize them until they're hideously unrecognizable or as good as dead. Oh, and just for the record, from beginning to end, Command & Conquer Rivals presentation was a whopping 8.5 minutes long. And why wouldn't it be? It's a cheap mobile game that will make EA tons of money at almost no cost.
Command & Conquer for a new generation.
As if EA hadn't given enough reasons for people to be bored and pissed at this stage of the press conference, Andrew Wilson got on stage again, this time to share a few final words regarding the recent controversies. No, there were no apologies given, no acknowledgement that they got greedy. Instead, he proceeded to make yet another piss-poor attempt at selling us the notion that EA is all about giving us player choice.
And what I can say about all of those teams, and what I can say about us, is that we are always trying to learn and listen and strive to be better. And so, as you look at the 10 experiences that you're going to see today, and as you play games this week, there's some things we hope come through. First, that at the very core is choice, is that you as players get to choose how you play, what you play, when you play, and what devices you play on. That in making those choices, you feel you are treated fairly, that no one is given an unfair advantage or disadvantage for how they choose to play. That for every moment that you invest, we know that you put so much of your life into the games we make, and that for every moment that you invest, you feel like you are rewarded and you are given value for that investment. And so, as we think through all the things that we're trying to do, know that we want to be better.
The fucking nerve of this guy. There wasn't so much as an ounce of sincerity felt in his voice. You can't say you'll strive to be better while continuing to insist that microtransactions are about offering us player choice. If it were really up to the players, if it were really our choice, microtransactions would cease to exist from our games, and all in-game items would be strictly earned through gameplay rewards. There is not a game in the world whose creativity or design was improved by microtransactions. They are there because publishers cannot be satisfied with earning a lot of money. They have to earn all the money. Stop presenting your money-making schemes like they're about us or like they were created with the intention of being to our benefit. And just take responsibility, EA. And if you really are intent on improving as a company, then show it by foregoing Ultimate Team paid loot boxes. Show us that you're not retreating from loot boxes to temporarily mitigate backlash. Show us that you've actually learned and are willing to see this learning experience through to the end by getting rid of loot boxes on EA Sports titles, where most of your money comes from. Moving along, shortly after his player choice speech, Andrew Wilson plugged how through EA Play to Give, the company has donated over $1 million to various charitable organizations, which is nice, but bringing up charity right after talking about a controversial topic was no doubt strategically planned. This finally brings us to the last showcase of EA's E3 2018 press conference, Anthem, the star of the show. EA spent a chunky 20 minutes on this one, starting with a brand new trailer, followed by a panel with the developers alongside some behind-the-scenes B-roll footage, and ending with a new gameplay showcase. I was really excited to see this game, and overall I'd say I came away from Anthem's presentation with mixed feelings. On the one hand, the game truly does look gorgeous, and the way you can so freely traverse a lush environment, both horizontally and vertically, really sets this game apart. On the other hand, while the panel portion did talk about how they don't want to dilute things like story, characters, and player choice in Anthem, none of these elements were in any way, shape, or form featured. It was a lot of flying around and shooting, but there was nothing in the way of narrative interaction. It was all style, but very little substance, I felt. During the panel portion, the developers made a lot of vague statements about their goals and ambitions, and about how this will be a BioWare game at its core, but we didn't get to see much of that represented in the brief 4 minutes gameplay montage. On the plus side, they did officially confirm that there would be no loot boxes in Anthem, and that all microtransactions would be confined to upfront cosmetics. Still hate that there even are microtransactions in a full-priced game, but in this day and age, upfront cosmetics is as good a compromise as you're going to get when it comes to AAA titles. Overall, Anthem is still a wait and see for me. It looks pretty and it will likely play well mechanically, but how it all comes together as a narrative-driven RPG experience remains to be seen. I was fooled once before with Mass Effect Andromeda, which also had pretty environments and fluid-looking combat, but never quite came together as a cohesive or competent package. So, where does this all leave us with EA's press conference? Well, aside from glimpses of some really cool-looking EA Originals titles, EA's conference was just a whole lot of blech. Battlefield 5's presence wasn't nearly prominent enough. Anthem left me conflicted with what they focused on showing. The bastardization of Command & Conquer plain and simply pissed me off. Andrew Wilson's corporate bullshit was as frustrating to listen to as ever, and I was completely apathetic about all their EA Sports stuff. Let's just say that it's gonna be very difficult for other press conferences to do worse than this. Honestly, the only compliment I can give EA's press conference performance is that they've set the bar low enough that it can only get better from here. These are just one man's thoughts and opinions anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on EA's press conference in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.